75%. That's how much of your workday is wasted. Not 30%, not even half, 75%. You're clocking in for 8 hours a day, selling for 90 minutes. 90 minutes. That means the average salesperson is getting paid to be professionally unproductive for 6.5 hours a day. If your company's timesheet told the truth, most of your sales team would be classified as a charitable donation. My name is Todd Hagopian. I'm the original Stagnation Assassin, and I'm the author of this book, The Unfair Advantage Weaponizing the Hypomanic Toolbox. But today, we're doing a Stagnation Assassin book review of Time Traps by Todd Duncan. So get ready for a hard-hitting, bold, relentless review of whether this sales productivity classic deserves a spot on your shelf or whether it belongs in the recycling bin. Todd Duncan is a sales trainer who's coached over 250,000 professionals worldwide, and Time Traps was a New York Times bestseller. The core thesis: stop trying to manage time. You can't lasso the wind. Instead, manage your tasks. And he identifies 8 traps that eat your day alive: the organization trap, the yes trap, the control trap, the technology trap, the failure trap, the party trap, the identity trap, and the quota trap. It kind of sounds like the 8 horsemen of stagnation, doesn't it? Let's see if Duncan actually slays them. Here's what this book gets right: where Duncan earns his stripes. The fundamental premise that time management is a myth and task management is the real game. That's not just clever branding, that's operational truth. You can't manage time any more than you can manage gravity, but you can manage what you do while gravity's pulling you down. I've watched this exact delusion destroy productivity at Fortune 500 scale. Leaders stacking calendars like Tetris, mistaking motion for momentum, scheduling meetings about the meeting they just had. Duncan calls this out with surgical specificity. His breakdown of the yes trap alone is worth the cover price. He nails the brutal reality that every time you say yes to something unnecessary, you're saying no to something that actually moves the needle. That's not time management theory, that's profit protection in practice. The control trap chapter is another piece of powerful precision. Duncan argues that refusing to delegate is the silent assassin of scale. You think nobody can do it as well as you? Congratulations. You've just built a prison with your own competence as the bars. The control trap doesn't protect quality, it protects your ego. And your ego doesn't pay your bills. I also appreciate that Duncan doesn't just tell you what's wrong, he gives you a daily framework, categorizing every task into productive, necessary, and unnecessary. Kill the unnecessary, delegate the necessary, and protect the productive. That's clean, that's operational, that's the kind of tactical thinking that turns time wasters into territory dominators. His data point that salespeople average only 90 minutes of actual selling per day, just 20% of their workday, is a devastating diagnostic. When I was driving transformations at Fortune 500 companies, this was the exact kind of metric that turned comfortable executives into sweating change agents. If your sales team is selling for 90 minutes and scrolling for 6 hours, you don't have a talent problem. You have a task triage failure. Now let's look at the murder board. What does this book get wrong? Let's put this thing on the board because Duncan gets comfortable in the back half of this book, and comfort is where companies go to die, and same with books. First, the book is built primarily for individual salespeople in real estate and mortgage. That's fine for its target audience, but if you're running a division or managing a multi-hundred million dollar P&L, the frameworks feel like bringing a slingshot to a siege. The principles are sound, the scale is pretty small. I've managed billion-dollar business units. The complexity of organizational stagnation goes far beyond turning off your email notifications and blocking your calendar. Duncan scratches where it itches, but he never gets to the bone. Second, the technology trap chapter is painfully dated. Duncan was writing in an era when PDAs were cutting edge. The core principle, don't let technology control you, is timeless, but the execution examples feel like they belong in a museum next to your Blackberry. In an age of AI, automation, and algorithmic selling, telling people to be careful with their gadget misses the magnitude of modern momentum. Technology isn't just a trap anymore, it's a tactical thermonuclear weapon if you wield it right. Third, and this is a big one, the book lacks competitive carnage. It almost entirely inward facing. Manage your tasks, protect your time, say no more. That's all defense. Where's the offensive playbook? Where's the chapter on weaponizing the time you just freed up to absolutely demolish your competition? Duncan teaches you to stop the bleeding, but he doesn't teach you how to draw blood. A tourniquet is great, but a tourniquet without a battle plan just means you're going to die slower. So, what's the verdict? We are going to give this book 3 kills. Time Traps is solid, but safe. The core premise is stagnation killing gold. Stop managing time, start managing tasks. The 8 Traps framework gives you a useful diagnostic, and the daily categorization system is genuinely actionable. Duncan writes with clarity and conviction, and for salespeople drowning in distraction, this book could double their productive output. But it pulls its punches. It stays in the shallow end of the performance pool where the deep end is where real transformation happens. It's a defensive playbook without an offensive strategy. It's written for individual contributors, not operators building empires. And some of the tactical advice has aged like milk. If you're a salesperson who can't figure out why you're busy but broke, go ahead and read it. If you're an executive looking for enterprise scale transformation tools, you're going to need heavier artillery than this. So that's the verdict on Time Traps. 3 kills, good foundation, needs a bigger building. If you want the full arsenal, not just the tourniquet, but the entire battlefield strategy, grab my book, The Unfair Advantage, Weaponizing the Hypomanic Toolbox. Head to toddhagopian.com, subscribe to the Stagnation Assassin Show, wherever you get your podcasts, and check out stagnationassassins.com also. And remember, managing your time is impossible. Managing your tasks is mandatory. But declaring war on stagnation, that's where the legends are made.